everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Katie, and today I am doing some fall book recs. So it is officially fall, pretty much, and so I am doing hopefully, every video I will showcase one of 50 mugs or however many I own. So this time we have lovely Chip hanging out with us, which is literally like my favorite cup. And he actually does have a chip in his nose because the paint is coming off. But he is adorable. I actually got this one at Disney, so he is adorable, and I love him. He's just so cute, and like, who doesn't want to drink out of Chip? He's adorable. So this is going to be a fun video for all the fall feels. So sit back and enjoy some fun fall book recs. All right, so I have one stack here, which is just one bookshelf. So we have these that we're gonna recommend. Okay, so I'm gonna go through those a little bit later. So let's put those to the side. Which actually, that should probably be on my favorite shelf. Anyway, so if you're looking for a kind of mystery romantic suspense, I really enjoy this one. This one's called Bridge of Gold by Kimberly Woodhouse, which is definitely part of the Doors to the Past series, but like, you could read them as standalones. I feel like you can. So this one is dual timelines, and we're following, I know that like it's kind of treasure hunting. There's an underwater archaeologist, so technically it's not like super fall, but I feel like it's kind of got like that mystery and suspense element. So if you're looking for something more along those lines for fall, I feel like this is a good choice. The Letter Tree by Rachel Fordham. I'm not exactly sure when this is. Let's see what it says. No, it just says where, not when. But I feel like this gave me really kind of fall feels. It's The Letter Tree by Rachel Fordham, and this is set in Buffalo, New York, which is right near me. And we're following these two characters where they end up somehow connecting through letters in a tree. So they end up becoming friends that way. And there's like a little bit of, like, her father wants to have like a prearranged marriage with her, and she's like, no, I don't want any of that. But I just thought it was so sweet. It's not like my favorite Rachel Fordham, but I feel like this one's very fall feeling, especially since like I feel like the characters on the cover here, I feel like they're dressed for fall. So that's my reasoning. Then I have this series, which I've only read book 1, but I really enjoyed it, and that is a Maple Run series by Tony Shiloh. This is the first book, Buying Love. I think I own the entire series. But these are really short novellas. They're like 150 pages long, and they're really sweet. This one are following Nina and Dwight, and Nina has this plan of like, I want to do this, this, and this in my life. So she ends up putting in a newsletter saying, I have an inheritance or whatever, and I'm looking for a husband. So she gets a few wackos along the way. But then comes a Dwight who's trying to save his family restaurant. And, you know, if this is the only way that he can, then, you know, he's going to try. But I just found it so sweet, and it's a very different, you know, relationship feel. Like, I don't think you see a lot of, like, newspaper articles looking for, you know, a husband. I mean, especially nowadays. So I thought it was really sweet, and I can't wait to continue the series. I really do have to continue it. So really cute. I'm not exactly sure if it's set in fall, but I mean, it's a Maple Run novel. I mean, when I think of maple, I think of fall. Next is the Beast and the Bethany series, which is a middle grade series. And I own book 1 through 3. Book 4 and 5 are not out in the US. And I'm like, what is up with that? I'm just saying. I'm like, I can't get it anywhere. And it's like really pricey to, you know, send it from the UK. And I'm like, why isn't it releasing in the US? Because books 1 through 3 are. So I have books 1 through 3. But I really enjoy this series. I think it's so cute, and it's perfect for fall. I mean, it's a little bit, you know, monster-y, but like middle grade monster, so you're not going to, you know, get scared or anything. But this we're following Ebenezer, and Ebenezer has a monster in his attic, and his monster likes to eat stuff, you know, furniture and paintings and animals and whatever Ebenezer can get his hands on. Well, the monster all of a sudden one day wants to see what a child tastes like. He goes to the orphanage and picks up a little girl, and she's more trouble than he bargained for. And I love the whole series. I love how each of the characters like really grew throughout the series, and I really Really enjoyed it. I really hope I can get my hands on book 4 and 5. So again, if you're looking for like a romantic suspense book, I feel like romantic suspense is pretty popular in the fall. I mean, it's suspenseful, it's mysteries and stuff. So I have the Kimberly Woodhouse's Alaskan Cyber Hunters. So this could be read kind of fall to winter, and I've read 26 Below, and I have not read 8 Down yet. I actually got this one at a book event. Somebody traded for me, and I was like, thank you so much. That was so sweet of you. So I have this one. I actually have the 3rd book coming soon, so I'm really excited to finally finish this series up. I think there's only 3, but really enjoy these. They're very suspenseful. Well, as I said, I've only read book 1 so far, but it's set in Alaska. It's like a cyber terrorist book. Something's gonna happen at 26 Below. Like there's a woman who she's kind of a little, you know, a little off, but she's telling people like something's gonna happen when it hits 26 Below, and so it's really good. And I can't wait to read 8 Down. And the 3rd book, I actually should have finished the 3rd book next month. I think it comes out. And I can't go throughout this video without mentioning, of course, a very classic fall feeling book. And that is Anne of Green Gables by Ella Montgomery. I just feel like if I don't mention this, somebody's going to yell at me. But this is such a very sweet and darling book. If you've never read it, I'm sure most of you have. But if you haven't, fall is the perfect time to pick this up. I feel like it's such a cozy, perfectly classic, fun little read. Well, little, it's quite big. But I just think it's perfect for fall. And this one is about a girl named Anne, and she feels like nobody wants her. You know, she's going from home to home to home until this couple adopts her, and they wanted a boy. Well, she's not a boy, and so they end up adopting her, and it's just the sweetest story. I still have to continue the series, but at least I think I've read up to book 3 or 4, I think, but I would like to continue it. But I did enjoy, this is my favorite so far, which is the 1st book. And I also want to mention another book by Ella Montgomery. I finished The Blue Castle this month, and that was fantastic. So far, I think that's my favorite Ella Montgomery book that I've read. I just thought it was really, really great. And if I'm being honest, I saw myself in the character a lot, especially in the beginning. I'm like, this is hitting too close to home here. But I love the characters. I love the romance. It was so sweet. But in this book, we're following a woman who, she's near my age. I think she's like 29, which is actually like, for back then, yeah, you're pretty much an old maid. So she's pretty much an old maid, and she has always daydreamed about finding romance and finding love. And she's always kind of been cloistered at home with her, I think it's her mom and her cousin or something. And so she's never really been out of the house. She's kind of been a sickly child and stuff. And so she ends up going to the doctor's one day, and she ends up getting a diagnosis that says she only has 6 months to live. And she's like, great. Well, there's that. And then she decides to be, you know what? I only have 6 months to live. I'm not going to sit at home and do absolutely nothing or tell my family what's going on. So she kind of like acts like the rebellious child. And I loved her so much. Her character was fantastic, like one of my favorite characters. So I highly recommend that one. And I don't know if it's technically fall, but just classics in general kind of scream fall to me. So that's a great one. All right, we're down to our last deck of book recommendations for fall. So the first one in this deck is The Lost Library by Melissa Coastland. I finished reading this one last month. Last month. And loved it. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. It's a little bit of magical realism, but not the way you think. Like, it's not really fantasy at all. But in this we're following a girl who, she's kind of on the run from, like, it's not necessarily the mafia, but like they're kind of like, that. And so she ends up working for this guy at his business, and he's the owner, and everybody calls him the Beast. So there's kind of like a Beauty and the Beast twist a little bit to this, but it's very, very action-packed. Melissa Coastland's known for like her very high action-paced books mixed with really great romance. So this one, we're following him, and he's pretty much a very big protector, and he sees, what's going on with her, and so he ends up protecting her, and they end up kind of on the run together, and they find out somehow about this mysterious library that's supposed to kind of like have a lot of like very, very old books that like you never even heard of, like like, it has like original scrolls, like the Dead Sea Scrolls and stuff like that. So they're kind of on the hunt for that, and bad guys are on the hunt for it, and it's just a good time. It's a good time. It's like a national treasure hunt type story. It was a fun, entertaining, and loved the romance in it, and yeah, it was really great, and I really enjoyed it, and I really did enjoy Asher's character. I love a I don't know what you would call it, like the tortured soul type of hero, where like, you know, they're just great, you know, like the Beast. So really enjoyed it, and yeah, I feel like that's a good book for fall. And then I have one more kind of high action paced book, and that is State of Lies by Siri Mitchell. It is a political thriller, but I just feel like this is so well done because I'm not a huge fan of political thrillers. I'm not. But this one did it for me. I love it. If you love like Liam Neeson type of movies, I think you'll enjoy this one. It's so good. It's high, fast-paced, intense. Not really hardly any romance in this book. So if you aren't really a fan of romance, check out State of Lies. I think it's really good, and it is one of my favorites. I would honestly probably reread this one when I get the chance. I think it's a really great time. And this is about a woman who her husband Sean is killed in a hit and run. Well, a little later, she feels like things aren't adding up. Like some things don't add up about the night that her husband got killed. And so it's really good. Highly recommend that one. And if you're looking for something more contemporary, but well, so is it historical fiction? Oh, I don't know. But this is more contemporary. It has no romance in it, but I just really love the story. It's more like found family. I feel like found family is very much like fall feeling. And this is called This Is Where It Ends by Cindy K. Sproul's. She is turning out to be one of my favorite authors of all time. I love her. If you love stories like by Susie Finkbeiner, which is like more contemporary with like, you know, gets you in the feels and has characters that are like long lasting in your heart, pick up Cindy K. Sproul's. Her books are fantastic. So in this we're following a woman named Minerva, and she got married very young. She was 14 when she got married, and her husband really honestly wasn't the best. And so when he passes away later on in life, he kind of tells her, you know, to don't tell anybody what's in the box or the envelope, something like that. And she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. She ends up not opening it. So she has kept this secret all these years. And then a reporter comes, and he heard a rumor and a story going on around her husband and a couple guys who like used to work for somebody, and maybe with some missing gold from that company. And so he's on the hunt for that. And just him and his relationship with Minerva, it was just so great, and I love both their characters so much, and I really liked it. So there is a little bit of a light mystery, but it's honestly more about the characters and their development, and I really liked it. Next up, I have two fantasies for you, because fantasy, I feel like a lot of people read fantasy in fall too. So the first one is Unmasked by Kelsey Chapman. This is a fairy forward book. Well, fairies? Well, not really actually. But we're following a girl who, this is YA, both of them are YA, but there's this girl from the US, and she decides to do an exchange program and head off to Ireland. So this is kind of like an Ireland folklore fairy tale type book. And there she runs into this guy who him and his friends are kind of like the outcasts of town. They're not treated really nice, but there's even like worse people that kind of like run him out of town and stuff. And so she kind of sports a friendship and maybe something more along the way. And there's some mysterious creatures involved. And I wouldn't say this is like there's fantasy, but I feel like it's more on the lighter side of fantasy. Like it's more like fantastical creatures versus like, you know, magic and stuff like that. The only thing magical really is weapons. So, but even that's like not really super magical. So I'm not gonna spoil anything, but yeah, so I really enjoyed this one. I think it's really great. I wish this was a series, but I don't think it is. And then the last fantasy book I have is Waitress by Nadine Brendez. I'm sure I have other fantasy books to recommend, but Waitress is one of my favorites, if you couldn't tell by how much tabbing I did in this book last year. Yeah, was this last year? Yeah, this was last year. So Waitress by Nadine Brendez. Love this book so much. Oh, this is about a girl who when she cries, her tears can become wishes. So when people find that out, you know, they take advantage of her or whatever. Well, then one day she's cursed, and the next tear that she sheds, will kill her. book drop. You know, I'm not going to hurt my book or anything, but it's so good. It is so good. Absolutely love it. It's in my top favorites of all time. And I just, the allegory in this book is so good. And I just was like, this is so fantastic. So highly recommend. Highly recommend. It's so good. All right. Then the last couple of books that I have a series for you, which is one of my favorites and definitely could use a reread for sure. And that is the Boo series by Renee Goodreads. One of my absolute favorites. So we have Boo, which is the original book. Then we have Boo Hiss, I think. I can't remember which one's next. And then Boo Hoo. So don't, like, I have talked about these before, but if you're new here, don't let the covers fool you. These are not horror. They're not super Halloween-y or anything. Like, I think the first book was like set around Halloween, but it's like, it's not. Trust me, it's so good. It's such a really, really great Christian series. I love it. And it's got kind of like that new Christian storyline, so it's really good. But in this series we're following his nickname is Boo, but he was a horror author, but then he becomes a Christian, but the town's known for like his books, so they're like, what are we gonna do? I don't know. We gotta get him back involved. We gotta get him back to writing horror books, but he doesn't want to. And so it's just hilarious. The townspeople are so funny in this series, and the audiobook is really good too. So highly recommend this series. And then the last books that I'm gonna suggest are, of course, Jamie Jo Wright. I mean, a fall book recommendation video is not complete without Jamie Jo Wright. So I have 4 of her books on here because these are the ones that have been like my favorites, kind of. And I feel like, you know, 2 are a little bit more on the creepy side, and 2 are more on the kind of more just very, very suspenseful. Although, honestly, I feel like when people say that you know, they're scared to pick up Jamie Jo Wright because she's scary, really don't be, honestly, because she's really not to me. I mean, she's really not, because everything has an explanation in her books. Nothing is actually like horror. Nothing is fantastical. Nothing is, you know, it has a Scooby-Doo explanation. So don't be afraid to go into her books. I feel like if you want to start out a little bit, you know, not as scary, I personally really like The Vanishing at Castle Moreau. This is my absolute favorite book by her, and this one I feel like it's more gothic mystery feel to it. It has a little bit of like that Phantom of the Opera type feel, and I just really love this one. It's one of my absolute favorites, so definitely pick that one up. And then these 3 are a little bit more on the you know, atmospheric fall creepy side, but I love them all. So we have The Curse of Misty Wayfarer, which is really good. I actually honestly thought Misty Wayfarer was a place, not a person, so it is a person. And then we have The Premonition at Wither's Farm, which is actually probably honestly, I feel like her creepiest. I don't know. But this one's kind of just, it's good, but like, you know, there's some parts that are just a little bit more on the creepy side. And then this one was actually my first book by her, The Souls of Lost Lake. And this one can definitely get a little bit intense too. But I mean, all 4 of these are probably my favorites by her from what I've read so far, but I still need to read a few more. Oh, and also The Lost Boys of Barlow Theater. That one's really good too. So yeah, all those I highly recommend. The only one I really didn't like, it was more just like a meh rating, was On the Cliffs of Foxglove Manor. If you're looking for one to kind of start out with, I might start with that one, because I felt like, for me, that one was the least of her, you know, creepy books. I don't know. Let me know your opinion. If you've read a lot of Jamie Jo Wright, let me know, like, which one you think is like her least atmospheric creepy rates. Anyway, so those are all of the fall book recs that I have for you today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know some fall book recs that you have. Of course, I probably have like a ton more, but they're probably all like ebooks or audiobooks that I requested from the library at some point. All right, so I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.